everyone, it's Hailey, and today is Bookmas Day 12, the finale of Bookmas, where we are going to be talking about the top 12 books that we read this year. So I am so sad that Bookmas is over, but I'm also really happy because this is a great video that I've really been looking forward to filming, and I think you guys will really like it. And also I get to wear this ugly Christmas sweater that my mom bought, and she wore it to work and then she said I could borrow it, so thank you, Mom. But it has Santa like going in the chimney, and my favorite part is that his butt is literally puffy, like his butt puffs out. You can't really see it, but it does, and also it lights up. So I have this amazing Christmas sweater courtesy of my mom, this ugly Christmas sweater, and we are going to be talking about my favorite book. So I'm just feeling great today, and I'm really sad that this is over though, like really sad. I have had such a blast doing this. It was so much fun to have all of you guys participating in the readathon, in the videoathon, like everything about this was absolutely amazing. I'm really glad though that I'm gonna have a little bit of a break where I can just kind of relax and go back to my normal video schedule. So I was trying not to repeat from previous Bookmas videos, but I found by doing that it wasn't really my top books of the year. It was just kind of a list of books that I really enjoyed this year. So I just kind of decided to say whatever, and some of these are going to be repeats from previous Bookmas videos, but that just shows you how much I loved them. So coming in at number 12 is Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. I loved this book. It was so whimsical, so amazing. It really felt like a Wonderland-esque world, and the whole story kind of reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, but a very dark reimagining of it, where like the darkness was kind of at the forefront of it. I loved the characters. Alice was just such a great little snippy, sassy 12-year-old. She was amazing. Loved the world, everything about it. The writing was fantastic. This book was just absolutely amazing. And by the way, before I forget, as usual, if I have any reviews for any of these books, they will be linked down below for you guys. Some of them I haven't actually filmed yet, like this one, but once I film them, I will link them down below for you. Next up at number 11 is The Little Prince, and this is one that has a very reflective cover, but it is really a reflective read as well. It's a read that really opens and allows for a lot of self-reflection, a lot of thought, and you can tell that so much thought and care went into this book and kind of the morals behind it. And I think this is a book that I will reread many times in the years to come, because I think anyone of any age will get something from this story. It is a beautiful story, and I am so glad that I read it. It was amazing. Next in the number 10 spot is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is one that I had been anticipating so much this year. It was easily my most anticipated release of this year because it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling about the Queen of Hearts before she's the Queen of Hearts, so you kind of get to see her journey to villainhood. And I love where you see villains but not as a villain, like you see how they kind of became the villain. So I really loved this one. It did not disappoint. I loved our characters in this book. It really paid homage to Wonderland, and I just think it was a fabulous story, and I wish that she was doing more Wonderland retellings because I think she would be really good at it. Like, I would love to see an Alice one like this one, like not that Alice is a villain, but like a journey to her being kind of the heroine, but really she kind of is a villain. I don't know, I'm getting a little bit analytical there, but nonetheless I did really love this story, and I think it was just so good. Next up is one that actually isn't out yet for you guys. This one's coming out in 2017, but I did read it in 2016, so I'm still counting it, and that is By Your Side by Casey West. I loved this story. It's a cute little romance that has a deeper meaning to it at the same time. You have a girl who is locked in a library with a guy for an extended amount of time, and I mean, as that may sound like it's a dream, it kind of ends up being her worst nightmare. I found that I could really relate to the main character, and that is part of the reason why I loved this book so much. I could really see myself in her, and I even found myself like ticking off some passages in here because they really spoke to me, and I love books where I can really just relate to the characters, and this one definitely did that for me, and the story itself was just very great, and I really enjoyed it. Next at number 9 is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is a book that I honestly don't know if I ever would have picked up if I hadn't gone to Indigo's home office back in October, and I'm so glad that I did end up picking it up. I've been talking about it in quite a few videos recently, but that's because this book is really important. It's a conversation starter. It has a really really great story at the same time, and it's very quirky and weird, but has a message that I think really needs to be shared, especially to the age group that is generally reading young adults. So I loved this book. I loved the concept of it. The writing was fantastic, and everything about it was just on point. So I just think everyone should read this one. It is so good, and it has a very important message. Next up at number 8 is Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the third book in the Raven Cycle Quartet, and yes, I did read The Raven King, which is the conclusion to the Raven Cycle Quartet that came out this year, but I preferred this one to The Raven King, to be honest. I just didn't like how The Raven King introduced a new character. I hate when books introduce new characters at the end. I don't want to like get to know a new character. I want to know what happens to the characters that I have been reading about for the past 3 books. But that being said, I did still enjoy that one, but this one I really loved. I loved seeing the characters really develop in this book, and you could see that the end was close and how that kind of brought forward anxieties for those characters. I mean, these characters have been on a quest to find this Welsh king for years, and now that it's coming to an end, they're just as anxious as we are for it to end. Like, we're sad about it, but we're happy about it at the same time. I just felt like I was really brought into the story in this book, and I miss these characters very much. But they are coming back in a Ronin-centered trilogy, which I cannot wait for. Next up, coming in at number 7 is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy thingy, I don't even know anymore, by Sarah J. Maas, and this one is kind of tied with Empire of Storms. I just didn't really want to take Empire of Storms off of my shelf, and I mentioned Empire of Storms in another video, so I decided to mention this one in this video. Wow, this one in this one. What an English sentence. But anyways, this was a great sequel. It really shows how with Sarah J. Maas, everything is kind of turned on its head. Like, nothing is ever assured, and I love that because in a lot of books, you know, like, even though you're kind of along for the ride, ultimately you know how it's going to end, but with hers, you really have no clue. Like, you have no clue who anyone is going to end up with, what's going to happen to any of the characters, who's going to survive. Like, it's just a bloodbath, but it is amazing, and I love it. And next up at number 6 is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Hey, that's so appropriate because it's 6. Huh, I didn't even plan that. But I loved this book. It was so fabulous. You get to follow 6 characters who are going on this crazy heist in this fantastical world that's based on Russia. It's just an amazing world. You're really painted a picture, and you get to know these incredible characters, and they all have these different quirks that really work together to make this fantastic group that goes on this crazy adventure. And I just loved this story, and I'm really looking forward to reading the conclusion, which I own but haven't gotten to yet. Next up at number 5 is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. It is no mystery by now that I love Morgan Matson. I think she's a fantastic writer, definitely one of my favorites, and this book was no exception. This book is definitely one of my top 2 favorites that she has written so far, and I just love this one. It had dogs in it, it had a character who was a writer, which I loved, it had great relationships, the main character was awesome. I loved seeing her world kind of turned upside down and how she had to pick up the pieces from it, and it was interesting because she was so used to having this meticulous plan, so then you had to see her kind of being adaptable, which was something she wasn't used to having to do. So I loved her character. I loved the not the world, but I loved the whole storyline and like everything that was happening to her, and seeing her overcome all these adversities was really amazing, and I just think that she was a great character, and there were so many dogs in this book that I loved it. So I totally messed up the numbering somewhere in there, so Six of Crows was actually number 5 on my list, and then The Unexpected Everything is number 4, and then number 3 is My Lady Jane, which is by the Lady Janies, who are Brody Ashton, Joni Meadows, and Cynthia Hand, and this book really surprised me. Like, the fact that this book is even on this list, and let alone in the top 3, just shocked me because I wasn't really expecting to like it. Like, it's super weird, the whole concept of it is weird, but it was hilarious, and it is one of those books that shouldn't work, but really does. It has amazing characters, like, the whole story had me literally laughing out loud. It has so many quips by the narrator, and like, you can just tell that the authors, their writing really works so well together, and I honestly cannot wait to see what they come out with next. I think they're doing a retelling of Jane Eyre. I'm just not sure when it's coming out, but whenever it does, I am all over that. Like, this one was all about Lady Jane Grey, who is the 9-Day Queen, and I just thought they did a fabulous job with that one, like staying true to history, but then also like turning it completely on its head. And it was just, you have people like turning into animals, like it's ridiculous, but it was so great and I loved it. And coming in at number 2 is Rose Under Fire by Elizabeth Wine. It's hard to believe that I read this book this year, honestly, because it was the first book that I read this year, I believe, and I had read Codename Verity, I think at the end of last year, but I loved that book so much, so that I had to pick up her next work, and it was no disappointment. Like, it was fabulous. I loved seeing the characters, and it's so unflinchingly honest. It takes place in World War II, and it takes place in a concentration camp that's just for women, so you get this group of women who are remaining powerful despite their circumstances, which are absolutely dire, and I just felt like the story was so beautifully written, and it was incredible, honestly. Like, I can't even describe how much I loved it, but I really did, and I'm looking forward to reading her next book, which is on my TBR right now, and I need to get to. And finally, coming in at my number 1 book that I read this year was The Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I apparently really had a great year for historical fiction, seeing as my top 3 are historical fiction, and honestly, I'm not surprised because I read some great authors this year in historical fiction. This one definitely did not disappoint. It was absolutely incredible. I loved the story of these people. Like, it's all of these characters. I think there's 4 or 5, I can't exactly remember, but they are all, it's at the tail end of World War II, and they are all escaping, and you see them trying to help each other out in their escaping, and it was just a beautiful, incredible story that everyone should read. Like, unflinchingly honest, just incredible, absolutely incredible. And now I'm going to be turning it over to present day me to wrap up the readathon for Bookmas.
Hey guys, so it is actually Christmas Eve today when I'm doing this quick little wrap up, so I might actually read more tomorrow, and I'm kind of hoping I will because I didn't read anything today yet, but I'm going up to bed. That's why I'm in my Christmas Eve pajamas. But I'm going up to bed and I'm going to read Dash and Lily's Book of Dares because I do really want to finish that before Christmas or on Christmas Day, whatever, but it's Christmassy, so I want to get it done within the next 2 days, so I'm hoping that that will happen. Today I did work my last shift before Christmas, which was really exciting. I worked so much this week that I'm just ready for a break, and I'm really excited about that. But I did have a pretty good, like, I had an average readathon. I think I ended up finishing 4 books in total. Honestly, I don't really remember. I finished the first 2 books in Narnia, then I also finished Snow Queen, and then there was one more, but I can't think of it right now. I think I finished one more book. I don't know. I finished 3 or 4 books. I just can't think of the other one at the moment, but it was good. Like I said at the beginning before Bookmas even started, it's a really relaxed readathon. I don't put any pressure on myself because it's a really busy time of year. Like, between exams and work is crazy, and family, like, it's just busy for everyone. So I had lots of fun, and it was kind of good to encourage me to get reading, and I was able to finish and achieve my Goodreads goal of reading 100 books this year, which I was really excited about, and it was just tons of fun. I didn't really do many sprints or anything, but I think it was fine. I don't know. Like I said, really low-key, relaxed, all that jazz. So from Jackson right here and we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, which I'm also going to say in the outro of this video, but it's closer to Christmas now, so it feels more authentic. So I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and or whatever holiday you're celebrating. I hope you have a happy holiday, and also Sadie wants to join in the wishes. Alright, so I hope you guys had fun with this readathon. It was tons of fun to do it with you, and we will see you guys later. Where's Jackson? There he is. Bye!
So I hope you guys really enjoyed Bookmas. I had an absolute blast. Thank you to everyone for participating in Bookmas with me. It honestly is my favorite time of year. It does like take a lot out of me because I'm working a ton, and also doing all these videos takes a ton of work. Plus the readathon, it's a really busy time, especially because I'm in finals too, but it is so worth it. I have tons of fun, and I love seeing what you guys create. Like, it is absolutely amazing and I just love it. So thank you guys for making Bookmas amazing, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and enjoyed all of Bookmas, and I will see you next year in my next video. No, it won't be next year yet. It will be the 28th, but I will see you next year in next Thursday's video. But I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate. I hope it's amazing. I hope you guys get lots of books, and I hope you guys spend tons of time with your family, because that is what the season is all about. So yeah, thank you guys so much for participating in Bookmas with me, and I will see you next Tuesday when we get back to regular video scheduling, our regular scheduled programming. Bye!